that's it for us and for this episode of Old Roommates.
Thank you for listening. Please remember to follow us on Instagram or YouTube.
Hey, welcome to Old Roommates. Today on the show, we revisit 1985's Rocky IV. So, get ready, stallions, because the show is about to begin. This is Brian.
And this is Christina. Until next time. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Old Roommates, the only podcast that revisits pop culture through a middle-aged lens. This is Christina.
And this is Brian.
And yeah, we're revisiting Rocky IV. Not Rocky 1, not Rocky 2. So what's funny about this, and we're going to get to it in a minute, before I started watching this movie,
Yeah.
I'm like, I think I watched like the first one and the fourth one, was my thought.
Yeah.
After I watched this, I looked up all of them and I'm like, oh my God, I watched every single one of these. And I was so surprised. But I got them confused with each other. As I was thinking about like the different storylines and things like that, I'm like, oh, I actually did see all of them, which was kind of funny. But this was Rocky IV.
Yeah.
And yes, of course, starring Sylvester Stallone.
Not only that, written by and directed by.
Didn't he do all of them or no?
Oh God, I don't.
I think he did all of them.
Maybe.
I think that was like the big thing with him. Like, I think he wrote like Rocky, like the first one.
I think that's right. Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
and it was just like this big thing because it was like a nobody, and he wrote the story or whatever. So yeah, he did all of these things. Yeah. And I'm dying to know, Brian.
Oh.
What is your history with Rocky IV?
So funny. So really quick, I never saw part one. And I'm realizing as I watched Rocky IV, I'm like, oh, I never saw part 1 or part 2. I vividly remember part 3 and part 4. I really liked Rocky IV.
Yeah.
I thought it was very exciting and fast, and I really liked the sort of drama of his relationship with Adrian, who like just really thought all of this was a bad idea, and which is kind of I feel like in sports movies the sort of tension doesn't really necessarily come from say like your spouse. Usually the spouse is quite supportive, right? And like they really want to be there. Usually comes from the enemy, like your opponent. But I thought I liked that. But I remember really liking Rocky IV and Rocky III for that matter. I will say I remember, even though I was quite young, I do remember vividly that Burgess Meredith Mickey, I believe is his name, dies in Rocky III, spoiler. And in Rocky IV, of course, Apollo Creed dies. And I was like, oh, did they kill it? And I wondered if they just kill someone off in every Rocky movie. Right. But I remember really liking Rocky IV. And just the idea of Dolph Lundgren being this giant, superhuman beast.
Yes.
Like, it was like, you just never saw, I don't think you ever saw anyone like him on screen before.
I certainly haven't. Even since, I don't think. Well, maybe Arnold's. Arnold's in like the Terminator.
Oh, that's true. Maybe. Yeah.
But was that Terminator after that? I think it was.
Oh my God, when was Terminator?
I do feel like it was after, because I feel like
Terminator. Well, no, Terminator 1 was it 83, 84?
Maybe.
Oh shit. Yeah, anyway. but I still think Dolph Lundgren. I mean, like he had muscles on top of muscles. Oh my gosh.
It was totally believable that he was like a robot.
Right? Well, yeah. I mean, like, and also, I think what helped is that you had all that technology, which, by the way, I found out a lot of it was real.
No kidding.
I don't know if the readings were real. Like, I don't think it was punching 1,800 pounds of power. But those. That technology that could measure those speeds and that pressure were real and quite advanced for the time. So yeah, all that to say, fan of Rocky IV back then.
Yeah. So I was also a fan back then. And it was really interesting because I think my memory, like I was saying, like I didn't remember even watching like many of these Rocky. But as I was looking them up for storyline purposes, just to figure out, like, well, what was this? I absolutely did. And as I was remembering it, I'm like, I really liked them. Mm-hmm. I really liked it. And I'm not a sports kind of
me neither.
movie person. But I remember really liking them. I loved Rocky 1. Rocky 2, I don't really remember that much about.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember loving Rocky 3 with Mr. T.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember being excited to see this one because in my mind I was thinking, what could be better than Rocky 3? Like, what kind of opponent could be worse or scarier
Than Mr. T.
than Mr. T? Because remember, I mean, now we think of Mr. T as like kind of like this
nice
lovable
guy.
guy. But back then, nobody knew Mr. T back then.
Right.
He was terrifying.
Yeah.
Terrifying. Huge,
Mohawk,
scary
yeah.
mohawk. Oh my gosh, he was just
A pity the fool.
unbelievable. Exactly. So I remember thinking in my head, I'm like, how could they ever get somebody scarier than him? And I was like, wow, they did it. They did it.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked the fact that it was set in another country.
Mm-hmm.
And because with sequels, it can be really tricky to be fresh.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked the conflict between the two of them. Believe it or not, I guess we can talk about now.
Yeah, we can
We'll jump
into
to now because I'm
Yeah.
starting to talk about now.
Yeah.
But I will say I did enjoy it back then a lot. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Never saw any of them for a second time.
I think I did see Rocky 4 a bunch of times. I think maybe I even had it on at the video store. Maybe it was a big HBO thing. I hadn't seen it in probably 30 years, but I remember, more than 30 years. So it's like, but I definitely know I saw it more than a couple times. Yeah.
Yeah, so this was quite a revisit for me because I hadn't seen it since '85.
I will say, I don't usually start this way, but in terms of like that timestamp, this was made for $28 million. It made $300 million.
Wow.
At the time, so this came out November 27th, 1985. It was the highest grossing film in the franchise and the most successful sports movie ever made until 2009's The Blind Side. I don't know if I consider The Blind Side a sports movie, though.
So I've
feel like
never
it's like
seen The Blind Side.
It's not great. I didn't like it.
You know, it has football in it.
But
I don't know if its main purpose is sports, right?
I was
Isn't
kinda
it more
bored.
about the relationship?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so...
It's also, this Rocky 4 is 91 minutes. And in my mind, I easily thought this was a 2-hour movie.
It seems like a lot happens.
Sprawling, yeah.
Yeah, it seems like a lot happens in this movie that I would have guessed it to be longer as well.
Yeah. My very first note, besides the Mr. T flashbacks, is that intro is like, here we go. The music when he is sparring with Apollo Creed. If you were to close your eyes, you'd think you're watching a gay porn. It's like heavy breathing, almost like, all right, let's go, Stallion. Give it to me, let's go. And it's like, and the music, I swear to God, is like, like 80s porn.
Gosh.
And I'm like, this is yes, I'm gay, but it's also feels a little homoerotic.
Well, and
their
they're half
relationship.
naked, they're sweaty.
Yeah, they're sweaty.
They're
And,
panting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I did laugh. My first quote here is it says, at one point Rocky says, after all these years, first of all, God bless, did you struggle understanding things he was saying?
Yes, I always have. I've always understood. I had trouble understanding, for sure.
As Rocky, because I don't think I struggle with Sylvester Stallone speaking. I think with I think in this, I really did. And I wondered if that was just really truly an acting choice. Because he says, after all these years, everything still seems kind of new. And I just wrote, it's the brain damage, sweetie. Like, but they allude to that too.
Yes.
About getting punched in the head a lot and, and that kind of thing. So through a middle-aged lens, that was a big new realization. They actually talk about that.
Yeah.
Like, being older, getting hit in the head a lot.
So I mix up a lot of the 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Okay.
So forgive me. I'm sure I'm going to get some of it wrong. But wasn't it in Rocky 3 where they said you're retiring now, and he came out of retirement? I feel like he came out of retirement to fight Mr. T.
Oh, I don't know.
Because of
And then Rocky 3, I've not seen it I think that movie I only saw once.
Because it's always something that fuels him to
Yeah.
to get in the fight, right?
Yeah.
It's always something. So I almost feel like because Burgess Meredith dies, somehow,
Well, that's right.
you know what
I remember that.
He's like fueled up to. I don't know. I felt like at one point, one of those movies, he retired. And actually, I think they mention it in Rocky 4. I don't know, maybe they didn't. Anyway, it all that to say, yes, the brain damage is real.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it is an acting choice with the way he's speaking. I
Yes.
feel like he wanted it to be kind of an accent, like a Philly accent or something. Like
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Some sort of differentiation
Yeah.
between his voice and the others. And
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I appreciated it, is
Yeah.
I guess my point. I mean, you do struggle. I definitely struggled to... I really understand what you were saying. I did put the closed captions on. But, yeah, but...
oh my God, I would love to see what the words are that they're typing up for closed caption. Oh, I just dropped my pen. That would be funny.
But I did write, I wrote Rocky's a goofball. I said that a lot of his responses are truly, he says, I don't know a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And again, all middle-aged lens. It's like, he has a lot of like odd little jokes and he laughs at his own jokes.
Yeah.
And so even when he's talking to Apollo Creed, a lot of it is like, I don't know. And I really think this is actually a pretty good acting performance.
Yeah.
I really
thought
felt like
so
I was
too.
watching a boxer who'd been beat up a lot.
I was not expecting much. I will tell you, I was not expecting much, but
Yeah.
I would agree with you
Yeah.
that I thought he did a nice job with the acting.
Yeah.
One of the things he said that I wrote down with I thought was kind of funny, and it kind of goes along with what you're saying, where he's not very eloquent in his speaking.
Yeah.
And these are things that people wrote down, so it's an intentional.
Oh, right, of course.
For
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
But he
He
said-
wrote down.
That he wrote
Yeah,
down, exactly.
yeah.
Remember a long time when I told you you're never getting rid of me? Well, you're not. Okay.
How about when he says, we're changing? Like, he's talking to Apollo Creed. He goes,
Oh my God!
did you write that down?
I wrote
He
it
goes,
down.
We're changing. We're like turning into regular people.
Right. Yeah, some of
Oh
this
my
is
God.
really, really funny. So what else? Okay, so I loved the old footage, like from the other movies.
Sure, yeah.
I really enjoyed that, and mostly because I forgot a lot about it. I mean, I don't know how effective it was in 1985, but as
need it.
as a
Yeah, that's a
revisit,
good
I'm like,
point.
this is great. It's exactly what I needed to kind of refresh my memory and his love story and it was throughout the movie, which I appreciated too. When he was doing, was working out and things, you flashed back to his workouts from before. And
Yeah.
I really appreciated that.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
It made me very nostalgic for the other movies. It almost made me want to watch the other movies, to be honest.
Yeah, and like I said, I really, truly have never seen Rocky. The
You probably
first
like
one.
it. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know how it holds up now, but
Yeah. So then Drago is introduced in his sort of tagline that he's described as like, whatever he hits, he destroys.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think that's a good performance too. I think Dolph Lundgren, for what he had to do.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like
terrifying.
terrifying. Yeah.
And I think the direction was be robotic.
Yeah.
And there we go. He did
Yeah.
it.
I also liked that his Russian team, like, I wrote this note that it's like, I find Apollo Creed to be so arrogant
He's so obnoxious.
and so almost more like a WWF wrestler than a prideful boxer.
Right, and
like-
I couldn't remember if that was how he was,
was
always, like
always,
if that
yeah.
was his shtick to be like just this obnoxious guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. Like he was.
Because he became more hateful in the presence of the Russian team.
Yes, and I wrote Apollo is being quite the asshole with the press.
Yeah.
And he was like really insulting and
Yes.
things like that. It's like that's not necessary.
It's not good sportsmanship.
It's not good
No.
sportsmanship. And then I wrote, Apollo, you need to calm the fuck down. And I'm like, is this? And I actually wrote, is this something that boxers actually do? Like, I am not I'm not in the boxing world. I don't know.
I feel like, but when I feel like we've seen enough clips where like they're standing face to face with each other at those press junkets when they're being weighed and all that. I don't think they're that aggressive and arrogant when it's like those mixed martial arts fighters,
right?
When it's the cage fighters, when it's like I said, wrestlers, it's very performative. I think with boxers, they're so focused,
right?
So Apollo Creed is like this different guy, and I will say another good performance is Carl Weathers. I mean, like, I think he's really good. I mean, he doesn't have much of an arc. He's kind of just Apollo Creed and being rude the whole time and arrogant and very driven. And Talia Shire says, or Adrian says, what's the purpose? What at this point in your life is worth getting hurt for?
Right.
And I liked that little bit of energy of like, this is a lot of the attitude when you could really get hurt.
Right. And he, what was his response? Because I feel like he had a pretty good response. It made me feel a little bit for him. You know, like.
Well, let me say this. Here's exactly what happened, because I wrote it down. Because I was like, that's a really good question, Adrian. Enter robot. And I did think that was sort of cheap of this movie. Like, it comes back to it. And Apollo and Rocky are talking because Rocky starts getting worried.
Yeah.
And, and Apollo is just sort of like, I got to do it. It's like, and is that enough of a reason? I don't know. I think also there's something we said that they thought it was going to be just like a little expedition, right, match. Like
yes.
Is that what they called it?
Yeah, it's supposed to be an exhibition match. So it's supposed to be
just like a fun, like a kind of a no-win. Yeah, it's like
just for the money or whatever. But I did think he was pretty stupid because he didn't do any training. He didn't do any research on this guy, and he's just coming out of like his own retirement. Like, you have to do something, especially with these being such an asshole, and he's making this robot guy mad. I mean, no common sense.
Oh, no, sorry. I meant the real robot, Christina. When Adrian says that line, the real robot comes in.
Oh, the real robot.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I forgot about the real. Oh, my God. That's right. Oh, my God. You're right.
Yeah, that robot that's like, suddenly, it's like, it was a guy and then it becomes a woman, right?
Yeah,
he
changed
the voice. He programmed the voice.
That was funny.
That was funny. So then it's the big fight. The expedition fight. And, let me from going too fast.
No. I'm right with you.
So it's like Living in America, James Brown, there's showgirls.
So don't you think that's a bit disrespectful?
I just wrote, "Oh, America, we're so obnoxious."
Yeah, totally.
It's so obnoxious.
I wrote, I said, where is the sportsmanship? So foolish and embarrassing.
It's embarrassing.
Living in I'm like,
but I remember being young.
You should be, hosting.
That's right.
Russia. You should be a little bit more respectful. So I don't blame them
completely. And I think that's a middle-aged lens thing. I don't think when I was 13 years old, I was like,
no,
"Oh,
you
this
were probably
is wrong."
like, yeah, America.
So it's fun. It's colorful. There's fireworks.
Suck.
It's
right.
What did you say? Russians suck.
I mean,
well, that was the vibe then. Yeah. And then I felt a little bit bad for Drago. Emerging into the ring with flags and cheering and the Osasadal bull that is collapsing before his eyes because he's known as the Siberian bull.
Right.
And then they have the bull and the bull starts falling and crumbling.
Yeah,
and it's like, that's really in bad taste. It's not, taste. Like, to your point, like, you're hosting another country.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's really bad.
Yeah, it was really embarrassing.
I did get a chill. Maybe you did too. When Apollo hits Drago's hands and they don't budge.
Yes.
And when you see that look on Apollo's face, like, it just, that little tiny moment is an awesome moment. Like, you really, as an audience member, and I think even as Apollo Creed, it's like you're realizing, like, oh, shit. Like, he's really out of his league. His hands didn't budge. No. And he hit him hard.
Yeah.
And he didn't budge. So that, I think, then and now, that still is super effective. I like that.
Yeah, that fight was pretty brutal. I was wincing, and I forgot he died.
What?
I know. Oh,
my God.
I know. I must have blocked it out. I thought he was just really badly hurt. Like, I mean, in the hospital, kind of paralyzed or something like that. You know what I mean?
Okay, I see that,
I forgot completely that he had died. I forgot the whole, like, funeral. I mean, all that stuff I blocked right out, which is so bizarre.
It is the biggest what the fuck moment, though, because Rocky doesn't throw in the towel.
Yes.
Christina,
yep.
On our friendship, if we were somewhere and you're like, Brian, please, whatever, don't save me. Like, don't throw in the towel. I'm
Yeah.
gonna be fine. And I saw that pummeling.
I
I would have thrown the towel.
The towel, but yeah, at one point you're like,
Absolutely.
nope, this
No.
is supposed to be something different, and it's turned into
Yeah.
your murder.
I would risk my friendship with you to be
Yes.
mad at me.
Yep.
And I would throw the towel in. for you.
1,000%. And he doesn't really address that too much.
No.
I feel like he has like a thought about it, but I think he should have been really wrestling with that.
Apollo's wife should
Yeah.
have. That should have been a scene. That should have
Yes.
been a moment. Adrian, like, what?
Yeah,
were
there should have
you
been
doing?
that should have been more of a motivating factor, maybe, as like struggling with his guilt. Right?
A tiny bit. When he's driving, and it's like one of the many montages
Yeah.
in this movie, is when he's driving, he sees that slow motion of Apollo falling on the mat.
Yes.
And he's holding the towel. You get
get
it.
it.
But you're right. That point of, where's the dialogue to that?
Mhm.
Like, it's enough. We were there the first time. We didn't, I mean,
Right, we don't have to
sometimes
watch
this
it
movie,
again, yeah.
and a negative for this movie is it does flashback to things that happened 3 seconds ago. I mean,
True.
it's like, so...
There are a lot of those things. I feel
lot
like
of flashbacks.
It's a 90-minute movie, and probably 15 minutes of it is
like-
probably montages,
It's like,
right?
we're not the ones with brain damage, Rocky.
Right?
We remember it happened 10 minutes ago. We remember it. But it's but I think it's a really good note that, like, yeah, if I wish there was just a couple of conversations where
Yes.
where Rocky says,
It's my fault.
"It's
or
my fault.
Something.
I did it on behalf of my friend and I lost my fucking friend."
Yes.
And how does the wife feel that Rocky didn't throw in the towel? How does,
Yeah.
give me a break. I mean,
Something, yeah.
even the other guy, the boxing team was like, throw in the towel.
Yeah.
And he doesn't do it.
Yep.
That's nuts to me.
What a friend. What a friend. So loyal. So I said that the last punch was very effective. Like that made me
Oh,
like
God, yeah.
like I think I like gasped.
Yeah.
Very, very, very effective. And then he actually says, if he dies,
He dies.
he dies.
Yeah.
Like such a monster.
Yeah.
And my whole thought was, after he died, I'm like, isn't Drago? Is it Drago?
Drago.
Drago.
Drago. Yeah.
Is he not accountable for a person's death? Like, shouldn't he have been accountable for that?
That's a fair question.
I don't know.
I mean, in today's world, if somebody gets, dies,
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know what the liability
I hate to even go there right now, but it's like when you think about football, like
Right.
all the concussions, all the head trauma, like, that's what does happen.
But that's almost accidental, right? I mean, not.
Well, you're trying to
it's
tackle.
part of,
You're
It's
trying.
part of the game, but it's not like I'm not. People aren't walking up and just punching people and pummeling them. They're trying to get the ball.
You're
That's
tackling your job.
are
But there
tackling.
are. I mean, I've never played football in my life, but there are roles in the team that your
Yes.
job is simply defense. You are tackling someone, or offense, whatever they're calling it.
I know.
Well,
This
but
is a
your
great
job-
conversation. This is a perfect conversation for you and I to have because neither one of us know anything jack squat about football. So let's have a good conversation about
My
football.
point, though, is that your job in a football team, certain roles on that team, your job is to just be big and clobber someone with your body.
Yes.
You don't. Listen. Yes, I'm sure there are rules like you can't hit someone there.
Right, because
but
people
it- but
get
I think
in trouble if they do certain things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I don't think Drago did anything technically wrong,
Okay.
and Apollo died.
Right.
I
So
said
it was
maybe
more
that's the
Rocky
thing. Like,
to
you can't
throw
hit
the
below the
towel
belt
in,
'cause-
so maybe it was more Rocky responsible
Probably.
than Drago.
'Cause
I
it's
was
like-
just curious about that.
Because at the beginning, the guy said, this is an exhibition fight. There's no this, there's no this, there's no this. It's seemingly Drago didn't do.
Yeah,
Not
he
anything?
did all the right things just a million
you-
times more.
Did you ever see $1 Million Baby?
Yes.
Oh my God.
I can't.
Jesus
I'm like,
Christ.
I have PTSD from
Oh
that
my
one.
God, that's horrible.
That was horrible.
But Christine, it's a fair point. We should probably Google that at
Yeah.
some point. But I mean, that's really funny. I didn't think like, oh yeah, he just killed him, or is it really more like, well, he died from his injuries boxing? right?
That's probably
yeah, I
what
don't
it
know.
I'm
It's
sure
like he
there's some-
strangled.
I'm
he
sure there's lots of
strangled him.
waivers and things. I mean, you have to sign 10 pages of
Oh
waivers
my
if you're going
God.
on one of those rope courses.
Uh, That's right. That's right. Well, yes.
Right?
Yeah. When we went skydiving, Christina,
Yes.
we had to sign. We had to initial. Years ago, we went skydiving, and we had to initial every piece of equipment we used.
Yes.
Meaning-
and any kind of injury. Remember, it was like if you die,
Oh,
if you
if
get
you die.
paralyzed, if you break a bone. Like,
Not only that,
yeah.
you're signing that your family can't sue them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's got to be some
Yeah,
sort of a waiver
something.
involved.
My very next note is remind me to never have Rocky Balboa speak at my funeral. Did you get that? What a eulogy. Here it is. Ready? There's a lot I could say about this man.
That's a good impersonation.
There's a lot I could say about this man. I don't know if it matters now. Awesome. His wife is there.
God.
Oh my God. I don't know if it matters now. It's the point of the eulogy.
This is the
right.
This is the last
this is
shot.
your moment.
This is your last shot, Rocky.
I don't know if it matters now.
It does.
Oh my God.
Just for the record, it does matter now.
It does. This is exactly when a eulogy matters when the person's dead. Oh
man.
God bless.
I was glad that they put a scene in with his son, just having a
Yeah.
conversation about why he's going away and all this
Yeah.
stuff. I appreciated that. I'm like, oh, good. He does acknowledge that he has a son. A lot of these movies probably wouldn't have that kind
Yeah.
of information.
The robot, by the way, the female robot is actually a real robot that was that Sylvester Stallone had for his real life son who had who's autistic,
Oh, I didn't
and
know
the
that.
robot was programmed to help him with communication skills and that
Now,
kind of thing.
so how many did he have more than one child?
I don't know.
Because his child he played his son in a couple of these Rockies.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think that's
Yeah,
right.
I don't know which ones he played in, but and then you know who played him? I think I don't know which one, but the guy from This Is Us.
I
Milo.
knew it. Yeah,
Milo
I knew you were gonna say
something or
that.
other. Yeah, he was his son in another one of the movies.
funny.
Yeah. How'd you know I was going to say that?
I don't. Isn't that so weird? Because I thought about who looks like him. He kind of looks like him.
Oh my God, that's so.
Yeah.
That's really impressive that you would. If I'd have said guess who played, you would have guessed.
I would have absolutely guessed
That's
him. I was going to
incredible.
say it. I was going to finish your sentence.
If what you're saying is true.
My God, why would I lie about that?
Jeez. Can
Jesus,
I not?
Christina.
That's the second time I dropped
Just
my
leave it
pen.
on the floor.
I know. It's not like I have anything better than that.
Okay, here's another big, really. So I have a few, like, really. He never. This is when I question Rocky's.
Okay.
Yeah, this is when I think he's been hit in the head too many times. He never talked to Adrian. Was that nuts?
Yeah.
Adrian comes home and the press is there. Like, what do you think about Rocky going to Russia to fight the Russian?
Yeah, that's.
She's like, what? We're not going anywhere. He's not doing anything. He never spoke to his wife.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's not okay. That is not okay.
Oh my God. Although I do, and you know what? It serves him right because when Adrian is like, I wrote some of this down. She's like, when he comes, he's at the bottom of the stairs. She's at the top of the stairs.
Yep.
And she's like, it's suicide, right? And just in case he missed that note, she says, you can't win. I'm like, damn, Adrian. She doesn't really beat around the bush.
No wonder he didn't tell her.
And then I kept going with Christina. I was like, what I'm trying to say is you're gonna die. You're a loser. I just started making up dialogue that Adrian could say. It wasn't landing with
Oh my
him.
gosh. I don't
It was so
respect
fun.
you.
Oh my God.
Oh
I wrote, wow, Adrian
God.
really doesn't hold back in this scene.
Oh
Thanks
my
for the
gosh.
support.
That is so dumb.
Oh, but then I wrote, so Christina, I rewound it multiple times to get this speech. Here was Rocky's reply. This is real. This is what he says.
Okay.
It's long. Maybe I can't win. Maybe the only thing I can do is take everything he's got. But to beat me, he's gonna have to kill me. And to kill me, he's gonna have the heart to stand in front of me. And to do that, he's going.
That's a lot.
He's gotta be willing to die himself. I'm like, God damn, that's a
Where's-
long.
Where's his I don't know on this? Like, okay, you could have.
How about
that
just
was a lot for
how about just-
Rocky. That was more dialogue he said than the rest of the dialogue put together in the rest of the movie.
It really was. And how about just like he killed my friend and I feel guilty because I could have saved my friend and I didn't. So
Yeah, he
I'm
doesn't
gonna
even
kill
mention
him.
that.
Yeah, it doesn't even mention it.
Well, and that's one of the issues that
In
I had
denial.
in this movie because he has so much to prove and so much, I'm fighting for Apollo, but he never says any of that. And
No.
that was missing from me
Yeah.
during all of this, the working out and then just even being at the end, right? I wrote something here. Didn't I say it? Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, I'm skipping to the end, but
Yeah.
at the very end, wait, was that the speech he said at the end, what you just said?
No.
No.
He
Okay,
talks
'cause-
about,
oh, no. Oh,
yeah,
God,
yeah.
no. I wrote down his speech at the end. It was just better than, okay, so not as good as what he just said, but better than the Apollo eulogy.
Yes.
But so I'll just say it. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
the end. But I wrote, he said, if I can change, you can change. Everybody can change. That was it. That was his victory speech.
Yeah.
Where was I did it for Apollo?
Yeah.
Like, where was
It was
his
all
name?
about him. It was all about him because
It was unbelievable. I'm like, what the fuck?
Christina, he even said, he's like, when I came in here, I was like, there's something like,
Yeah.
I was hating you and you were hating me. But the more I was here, you guys changed and maybe I changed too. And then
Yeah.
it gets into the part you said. And what's funny is he really only met, two people in
Right,
Russia.
right.
Because he was so secluded in the cabin.
Yeah.
I will say, that montage of him working out in the cabin in the snow and all that stuff, and then Adrian shows up. I thought that
Yes.
was actually very sweet.
Loved-
I love that.
lo-
I did
I
love that. I'm
loved
such
that
a
too.
sucker.
Yep.
When she's there, I was like, oh my god.
And
Like,
it wasn't just him, it was like his team was there,
Yeah.
and I agree. I really liked how they did that workout because it really, and he would go back and forth to Drago's,
Yes.
his workout and then his
The
his
steroid-
work-
the
so the steroids
injections,
and
injections, yeah.
the machines and all this kind of
Yep.
stuff, and he was basically, running up a mountain,
Yeah.
with this blizzard and like doing all of the sort of like grunt work, and it was so effective. I'm like, oh my god, that
Yeah.
looks terrible.
Yeah.
It's like-
Yes.
I don't even want to walk in the snow that deep. He's like running it and he's pulling
Yeah.
a freaking tractor and
Yeah.
all this. And then, so that was super effective. And then when his friends show up and his wife, that took it to a whole other level. And I loved it. I
Yeah.
loved the whole workout. It was believable after going through all of that. It was definitely believable that he at least stood a chance.
Yeah, and she got her hair done. I mean, yeah, it was
Yeah, that was
She was
important.
really nice for her.
Yeah,
to
it was
do that.
important.
Let's see. I wrote I kind of LOL'd whenever there was a montage, and then Adrian returns, and I'm back invested into this
Yeah.
ridiculousness. And then no, that's really funny. Do you remember? So it's the montage of him
Yes.
working out. Adrian shows up, and they hug and whatever. And they go right back into the montage.
Yes,
It's
yeah.
hilarious. There's got to be
So many
5
montages.
montages in this movie.
Easily. I'm telling you, 15 minutes probably.
And believe it or not, that's actually all my notes. I did say I loved the press junket, the second one.
Yes.
When the Russians start dissing America.
Well, it's such a switch, right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, and they're in Russia now, right? But yes, the Russians, it's kind of turns around. Are they the obnoxious ones?
Oh no, I don't think they're in Russia then. I think he
They have
says
to fight in Russia.
they do, but the press junket where it's like they're just talking to media.
Oh, before. Okay,
Yeah.
yes.
And and I think and they start really getting like aggressive and anti, America, and I liked it. I was like,
Yep.
you know what, good, because we were so obnoxious the first time around.
Yes.
But I thought it was good, and I liked how there's the big poster of Drago and all that
Yes.
kind of stuff. And to be honest, I actually did find the crowd's reaction believable. Like when they start rooting for this underdog American fighter, like I was like, you know what, I believe that.
I didn't really believe it, but
Okay.
I was with it. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah,
But
And
I didn't. I thought it was a bit unbelievable.
I think this
I
that
think it
just
would have
that
been a little quiet.
first of all, when it's dark, when the audience is in darkness, when they're not well lit, audiences will do and go with anything. Like, and I think that's why I say even like at a stand up club, like they're more comfortable laughing in darkness. And I think like when you have something that's it's like, oh God, am I wrong to root for the person that's fighting my country, against my country?
Right.
But I do think I bought it. I believed like the swell that went towards supporting Rocky because he was losing so badly. I even believed the fight. I was like, you know what? I believe this. I believe that Rocky got a couple good swings in because what they're really only doing with Drago is mostly making him the aggressor. They're not necessarily training him to be defensive because he's so strong. He doesn't have to be defensive.
Right.
But when Rocky does get those punches, it does throw him off a little bit because he wasn't trained that way.
He hadn't really. He doesn't know what to do.
I do have a bit of trivia, but I want to talk quickly about. Do you have any more notes about the movie itself?
Let's see. I have a couple of quotes where they're. A couple of quotes from the fight. Who said, "I must break you"? I'm assuming it's Drago, right?
to Rocky.
So I have a LOL. So it was like just really funny.
Yeah.
Then a couple of the announcements from the sports guys. They might need to stop this one before someone gets killed. Really? Really? You think? Then the next one it says, "He just threw Rocky Balboa in the corner like a rag doll."
Yeah.
That was funny. I laughed. I'm like, yeah, they did. Like, pretty accurate.
Oh my God.
And then the other one was, "This is shaping up to be a personal war." Really? It's shaping up to be a personal war? I feel like this was already...
The whole point.
Like, the whole point. Like, where were you 90 minutes ago?
Yeah.
So I thought that was really funny. I did say the faces in slow motion in any kind of boxing fight is just so funny to me.
Yeah.
And my last thing was I was so glad that they had a translator. I don't know why I said it that way. I am so glad they had a translator. I need a translator. At the end, I just felt like a lot of movies might have missed that.
Yep.
Because it's so, America.
Yeah.
But you're in Russia, so you should have a translator.
Yeah.
So
For his little speech at the end, yes.
For the little speech at the end, yes.
So before we get to trivia, more, less, about the same?
I think it was probably more for me.
Interesting.
Yeah, only because I don't remember... Like, I remember liking it.
Yeah.
I really do remember liking it. But it didn't have as much of an impact. Like, I think watching it this time around, I enjoyed the footage. I mean, there was a lot of it. But I did enjoy, most of that nostalgic kind of, montage-y, old movie clips, things. I enjoyed, I don't know, I enjoyed the workouts and things like that. So, I don't know, I think I liked it slightly more.
Mine is just a tiny bit less for the reasons we talked about. Like, I still think it's really exciting, very entertaining, very fast. It's like 91 minutes.
90 minutes, yeah.
But I think the things that we're talking about, those missing conversations through my middle-aged lens, like, it aged a little worse because it's like, really, you're not telling your wife you're going to Russia.
That was a big one.
You're really not talking to Apollo Creed's family, or you're not talking to anyone about like that. This is kind of your fault. Like you chose not to throw the towel. Like there were just some conversations that I feel like are completely missing that would have made this a lot stronger. But it's just a tiny bit less because I still think it's a really pretty strong sports movie.
I think what I appreciated about it was the fact that they could make it fresh for a fourth movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think that's why I kind of liked it a little bit more because it impressed me just in how the different ways in which they made it a little bit more fresh.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Here's some trivia. Peter Cetera, remember the song Glory of Love?
Yes.
That was originally created for this movie.
No way.
Yep. And they decided to end up using it for Karate Kid Part 2, which would go on to get an Oscar nomination and be a #1 song. This song they replaced this with was Hearts on Fire.
Yeah.
James Brown, his second biggest hit was Living in America.
Interesting.
And Burning Heart. So Survivor did Hearts on Fire, and then Burning Heart reached number 2.
Yeah, to me it was just a little bit too
Similar?
it was too much of a sequel to
Mm-hmm.
Eye of the Tiger, of course.
Completely. Jackson Hole, Wyoming, doubled for the Soviet Union. Sylvester Stallone spent 9 days in the intensive care unit after Dolph Lundgren hit him with an uppercut that caused his heart to hit his rib cage.
Holy shit.
9 days.
Wow.
Carl Weathers walked off the set for 4 days after Dolph Lundgren threw him in a corner during a fighting scene. Carl Weathers shouted profanities at Dolph, and Sylvester Stallone had to mediate.
Wow.
Dolph Lundgren, I remember this because he was such like a mystery, but do you remember that he went to MIT?
Oh
Like
my
a
gosh.
Fulbright scholarship. He lived in Boston. He went to MIT in the early 80s. He met Grace Jones. He became her bodyguard. They began dating, and they broke up because, quote, the orgies with Grace and her friends exhausted him.
I bet it did.
Yeah.
She had a lot of energy.
I have
and she
oh, yeah.
in
Please.
Brigitte Nielsen. This is
Oh, yes, of course.
where,
We didn't mention her at all.
Yeah, they became engaged
Yeah.
during the filming of this.
I thought she was great in this.
She was good.
I thought
Yeah.
I really want to say I think all the performances for everything for what they had to do
Yep.
for what was on the page, like I think everyone turned in a really good performance.
Yeah.
I liked
agree.
it a lot.
I agree.
And Brigitte, yeah, I thought she was good, just like that strong thing. I don't think I caught back in the day that they were together.
Yeah,
That they seem to lack
some
some chemistry there.
Yeah, it was surprising. Yeah, a little bit surprising.
But I do have a match game.
I do too.
Okay.
You want to go first?
Mine
or you
actually
want
is
me to go
about
first?
these characters, Brigitte and
Oh.
Dolph.
Perfect.
So, Drago is so powerful and strong.
How powerful and strong is he?
His wife needs a blank to make whoopee.
Ooh. Alright, how about... Oh, this is kind of stupid. I don't think it's going to match.
Mine's pretty stupid too.
Ding.
I changed this question like 4 times. But yeah. All right, Christina. Drago is so strong and powerful. His wife needs a blank to make whoopee.
A safety net?
That's good. That's not bad. I wrote a suit of armor.
Oh, that's pretty good too, yeah. I was thinking bubble wrap too.
Oh, I love that answer.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's really good.
Very, very similar. All right, so mine is...
Bubble wrap.
So we all know that Popeye ate spinach
Yeah.
for strength. Well, being from Philadelphia, Rocky ate blank.
Easy.
Yeah, I know it is.
This is one of those round twos. You're trying to get one of the contestants to catch up.
It's a B answer.
Yeah. Ding!
Okay, Popeye ate spinach. So Rocky, being from Philadelphia, ate...
Parts of the Liberty Bell. No, I'm kidding.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine? Cheesesteaks.
Oh my
Oh
God!
no! We're not a match?
It's not a match. Well, it was
Oh!
cream cheese.
Oh
Holy
my
crap.
God, Christina, I think that was a no-brainer.
You know what? Me too. Wow,
Philly
it serves
cheese?
us right for being so goddamn cocky. We were Apollo.
I'm gonna put that
We
on
were
Inst-
Apollo Creed right there.
I'm going to put that on Instagram.
Yeah,
What would you...
because
what
it's
people would
Philadelphia
say?
cream cheese.
But it's also Philadelphia cheesesteaks.
Philly cheesesteaks. Yeah, you're right. I didn't even think about that.
I thought there was more protein.
No, you're right.
Oh my God.
I would if I had to choose one or the other, I would choose cheesesteaks.
Oh my God. Oh, I will say, I think Rocky IV right now is on HBO Max, I believe. But, you know, it changes every week, so who knows?
Yeah, I think it. Did I watch it?
Or is it on
I forget.
Netflix?
I always get the movie
Yeah.
from the library just in case. Like when we plan our movies, I immediately that same day I reserve it from the library, pick it up a couple days. So I always have them, but then before I watch, I usually check to see if it's streaming anywhere.
Yeah.
But I think you said, yeah, I think
It's
it
either
is
HBO
streaming
Max or
somewhere.
Netflix. I know that because I bought it off of iTunes because I ran out of time because it was,
Oh.
I can't get into that. But it was like, and then I swear to God, it was like, yeah,
Like the next
the
day.
next week. It was like,
Yeah.
oh, now it's available for
Oh my
streaming.
gosh.
Well,
All right,
that
so-
was Rocky IV. And that's it for us and for this episode of Old Roommates.
Thank you for listening. Please remember to follow us on Instagram or YouTube, where we have our episodes as well as a little extra.
And if you have any questions about our show, any suggestions for movies we could revisit, reach out to us at oldroommatespod@gmail.com.
Thanks again for listening.
This is Brian.
And this is Christina. Until next time.